Righteous treading the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous treading the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily.
Why is that? Why is it that if you come from any part of Africa, you can tell where you came from? Why is it that blacks in America are the only people who do not know where they came from? And why hasn't your pastor, who has the Bible in the church, why hasn't he showed you this? Because the world does not want it to be revealed that black people and Hispanic people are the real Jews. That's right. So to answer your second question, sis, about this sign, these 12 tribes that's on this sign are recorded in the Bible. The same way I just told you that slavery was recorded in the Bible.
Where are they recorded?
All throughout the Bible, but primarily in Genesis, the 49th chapter. Jacob laid down the prophecies on where the 12 tribes would be found at in the last days. Why did he have to lay down this prophecy? That's a major clue. When you hide a treasure, and nobody knows where the treasure is, you got to write a map on how to get to the treasure. Why? Because nobody knows where the treasure is. Well, guess what? Jacob had to write these prophecies. Why? Because he knew in the last days, nobody would know who these people really are. I'll give you an example. What does the word Haiti mean? Anybody know? It's a French word. Haiti, a French word that means hell. Let me ask you something. Did the Haitian people name themselves hell, or did somebody else name them? I'll get back to that. I'll give you another one. Puerto Rico. What does Puerto Rico mean? It's a Spanish word. Anybody? Thank you. Rich, poor. Let me ask y'all a question. Did the Puerto Rican people name themselves rich, poor? I'll get back to that. African American. African American. Who named themselves African American? Did black people name themselves that? Or did somebody else?
By that logic, it means that nobody else in the country in the world have called themselves that. Other people are calling them different things.
That logic is sound because everybody calls them African American. Everybody calls them Haitians.
That's not what I meant.
What's your point?
You're saying that people are calling different countries different things.
Not different countries. No. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that different people call different countries different names. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are certain countries and bodies of people that have identities not by themselves, meaning they didn't name themselves. They were given this identity after being conquered. And that identity was given to them so that their real identity would not be revealed.
That's right.
Now you name me a country that somebody else named, that the world calls them that country. Australia. Who named Australia Australia? Say again?
England.
And who went and took over and established Australia? Who rules it? Who rules in Australia? Australia. Right? White Australians rule the country, don't they? No, who rules the country?
It said democracy, sorry.
Yeah,
technically England.
Yeah, for the ignorant, that means everybody's free. I know. But for the educated, it means that the Australian people, the aristocracy of Australia, rule Australia. Why? Because who are the descendants of the aristocracy of Australia? We're come from? Say it.
Criminals from England.
From where?
They're criminals from England.
They're criminals from England. And who named Australia?
England.
Oh, so you mean to tell me
That's my
the
point.
descendants, wait a minute, you mean to tell me the descendants of England who were prisoners and sent to Australia allowed their forefathers and brothers and cousins to name Australia Australia? Am I understanding you right?
Renamed America.
Well, wait a minute, before we get to America. Did the Haitian people say, you French people, name us French, because we're your cousins and brothers and sisters? Did they do that? You damn right they did that. You know why? Because there's a difference. The difference is they were given that name by being conquered. The Australians were given that name by their forefathers who established it as a prison colony. That's a big difference. My point being this, that all these people that I mentioned on this side are people who were conquered and given a different name than the name that they had.
That's right.
And their true identity can be found in the Bible.
That's right.
Your identity is easy to find. You just finished saying the people of Australia are descendants of the people of England that were prisoners. It ain't hard to find your descendants, but you cannot tell me who the people of Haiti were before they were Haitians. Can you? Of course you can. Can you tell me who the Puerto Ricans were before they became Puerto Rican?
That's my point.
Say again?
Misunderstood.
Wait, are you understanding my point?
Yes, I am.
Here's the $1 million question. Are you ready? Can you tell me who black people were before they were African American?
They are the original natives of the earth.
Of the who?
Of the earth.
Of the earth?
Yeah.
I thought you'd give me a nice generic word like that. The only problem is all the natives on the earth have countries.
That's right.
With identities.
That's right.
With borders.
That's right.
With languages, with cultures. So my question again, out of all the people of the earth, including these black people, among these black people, what were they before they became African American?
I don't know. Does anybody know?
Oh, I think you've woken up to something intelligent. She said, does anybody know? Let me help you out. Get me Jeremiah 14:2. Let me show you something you do not want to hear. Let me show you something you do not want to face. Let me show you something you loathe to accept. Read it for me loud.
Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2.
Listen good.
Judah mourning.
The Jews are people you know very little of, are in mourning according to the Bible. They suffering right now. And I asked this white woman, among African Americans, what is there? I'll help her out even more. Is there a black man out here that can tell me, you brother back there with the cap, put you on the spot for 1 second. Honest question. What is the nationality of black people before they became African American? Just give me an honest answer. Thank you, brother. That was the most honest answer. He said, I do not know. Do you white people know how shameful you are? You had these black people in your ghettos for 400 years, and you are a ruthless animal to allow them to be in America in 2013 and not give them their identity. Hey.
Yes, them have the heart of a. Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. People are moved with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. People are moved with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily.
Declare ye in Egypt. You hear what the Lord said? Declare this in Egypt, man. America is Egypt. Hold it now. How many of y'all know that in the Bible, America is Egypt? Did you know that? Oh, no, you didn't know that? How could you not know that? Didn't Egypt have slaves for 400 years? Didn't Egypt have slaves for 400 years? Egypt didn't have slaves for 400 years? Well, what does the word Egypt mean? Which means what? Thank you. Why did the Greeks name an African country bondage? Why did they do that? Why did the Greek Empire name an African country the land of bondage? No, you're a liar. They took over many empires. Why they name them empires bondage? You just trying to get out the truth. See, you ain't ready to face the truth. They called it the land of bondage because they had the children of Israel in bondage, and you know they did. You understand? And wait a minute. Are you saying that that didn't happen in history? There's no proof of that? Now let me ask you a question. Where is there proof that it did not exist? In what records? It's not where?
Egyptians recorded their own history. They didn't say nothing about it.
Yeah, and let me ask you a question about their history. Are their history written in books today?
Yes.
Who is the main scholar that produced the Egyptian history for us today? What's his name?
There's a lot of people.
What's the main one that started with Alexander and Ptolemy that brought the records out and brought them before the Greek world? Who was it? No, it wasn't. It was Manetho, and you know it. And Manetho brought those records out, and guess what? Josephus proved that Manetho and Herodotus was a bunch of damn liars. They were liars of history, man. And furthermore, let me tell you something. This is a personal testimony. I've been to Egypt several times, and guess what? I've seen the records. So then let me ask you this then. If there was no captivity in Egypt, then answer this question. What is the significance of a broken cartouche or a cartouche that's chipped around the outside edge? What is the significance of it?
I don't know that.
You don't know that? You went to Egypt? Did you study the records?
You know the language?
Did you study the
I'm
records?
not fluent in their language.
But did you study their records? Say, well, let me help you out. You don't know enough. You don't know enough, but you're going to learn something today. Anytime, give me a book on Egypt. Anytime you open archaeological records on Egypt, and if you open those records and you see you know what a cartouche is, right? Everybody that don't know, a cartouche is an identity medal. It's those circle medals that you see with writing from top to bottom. That's called a cartouche. In Egypt, cartouches were like street signs, or were like what you would call a badge with your name on it, or like a dog tag. That's what they use cartouches for. Now, what is the significance of a broken cartouche? Open it up for me. A broken cartouche, or a cartouche with a jagged edge on the outside, represents a slave or a captive in Egyptian history. Okay? Yes, they did. Let me ask you a question. What are black people in America called today? What are they called? They call African American. How many countries are in Africa? Now, which country do these people come from and identify from? Different tribes. Why is it that they are not being called by the tribes that they originate from?
Because they don't know.
Why they don't know?
They didn't do their lineage straight.
Why wasn't it just passed down?
Because of slavery.
Because of slavery. Then let me ask you an intelligent question. If the Egyptians had slaves, and if those slaves were Hebrews, would they be called Hebrews in Egypt? Seeing that these slaves are not called who they originally are, why would the slaves in Egypt be called Hebrew Israelites if they were in slavery? Wouldn't they be called something else that the slave master decided? Well, guess what? Now I'm going to wake you up. You want to find Hebrew Israelites in Egypt, all you got to do is look for the Hyksos. Do you know what the word Hyksos means? No, they're not white people. Show me the proof that the Hyksos are white people. Show it to me. There's no such thing as white Asiatics. No, there isn't. You bring the proof, because guess what I got? Guess what I got? I got proof that the Asiatics were black. And not only that, guess what was the name? Guess what was the name of the Hyksos? What was the name of the Hyksos? What did it mean? Do you know what it meant? See, you ain't studied enough. Let me show you what it means. Hyksos means shepherd kings. The reason they were called shepherd kings were because the Hebrew Israelites were farmers. And the Egyptians abhorred farmers. The same way they call black people niggers in America is the same way they call Hebrew Israelites Hyksos in Egypt, meaning they shepherd kings or ghetto kings is what they called them. And you don't know that because none of your scholars that try to brainwash you into believing that Egypt was a righteous empire, that it was an evil empire, is what it was. So wait a minute, you telling me it's righteous to worship a baboon? Yes, they did worship a baboon. Yes, they did pray to a jackal. Yes, they did pray to a hippopotamus. You gonna tell me the Egyptians did not pray to a scarab? You're a liar. You know, the only one that came up with one God in Egypt was all right there. So don't lie. Don't lie. You know, before Akhenaten, they worshiped many gods. Yes, they did. You're a damn liar. When Akhenaten came along, that's when they came up with the one God. And furthermore, here's what's so evil about Akhenaten. Akhenaten wasn't worshiping the Most High. Akhenaten was worshiping the damn sun. That's what he was worshiping. Him and that old big-headed Nefertiti. They were worshiping the sun. That's why Nefertiti had all her hair shaved off her, because she was in there doing electronic experiments with batteries trying to become a damn god, where she was nothing more than a disgusting witch. And Akhenaten wasn't nothing more than a diseased transvestite, man. You understand? And they had nothing to do with the Lord. And it is why God destroyed Egypt to the ground. You've been trying to deny. What you got for me, man? Hold it now. Hold it now. Now you say Asiatics are white people. Turn around, hold it together. Hold it together. Oh, get that page for me. Get that page for me. The people that were enslaved in Egypt were all black. Wasn't no white people in Egypt until Ptolemy came along. When Ptolemy came along and took over Luxor Temple, that's when white people came into Egypt. Before Ptolemy's time, it wasn't no white people in Egypt, man. Okay then. So the Hyksos were 1,000 years before Ptolemy. They were 1,000. That's another lie. Where's the archaeology proof that they raided? First of all, I'll give you one further. If the Hyksos raided Egypt, where's the history of the Hyksos Empire before they raided Egypt? Where did they get the might and the power? They say they came from the Middle East, right? But where's the proof that they had an empire in the Middle East? There is no proof.
Where's the proof?
The what?
Nonsense.
The Moors were in Africa. The Moors were in Africa. That's a lie. The Moors were in Africa. The Hyksos never had an empire. You know why? You know why? Because they came down with Joseph in them. You know why Ptolemy got rid of that record? Because Ptolemy did not want the history of the Hebrew Israelites to come out. That's why he hired Manetho, a criminal, and Herodotus, a phony scholar, to sit down and write the records. Listen, Manetho himself said that he wrote the records off of his memory. That was the first century. How the hell did he have a memory of 1,500 years in the first century? And furthermore, open any Egyptian book and look in the back in the glossary. I guarantee you they will give Manetho credit for the archaeological finds. Why? Because he's the father of Egyptian scholarship. Both him and that lowlife Herodotus, and both of them were lying. Get it for me in the pot. We got a Josephus out here. If y'all got a Josephus, get me the wars of Apion. I'll give you some history out here. This is my favorite subject. Don't get me started. It's my favorite subject. You so-called Negroes been trying to worship Egypt just like you did back in the ancient time. And let me tell you how dumb and stupid you black people are. You black and Hispanics are so damn dumb and stupid. You go find the most glorious African empire, and all of a sudden you make yourself a descendant of that empire. You're a junkie for whoever's in power. Whether it be the white man, the African, just because Egypt had pyramids, that means you had to be there? All black people are not the same, dum-dum. There's black people in Alaska. They ain't related to the Africans. There's black people down in South America. There's black people down in Australia. They're not related to the same people. When the Lord came about and set this earth up, he separated these nations. You want to come together in a one world order of mess. Now, back to what I said. You said the Hyksos were white people. Why do I have paintings from your Egyptian temples that say the Hyksos were black? How do you know that they was white?
How do you know?
Because I studied it, that's how.
Yeah.
Who said it?
Old Kemetic dynasty.
The Old Kemetic dynasty. Who translated the Old Kemetic dynasty?
Greeks.
No, the Greeks didn't do it. They hired somebody to do it. The Greeks could not speak it. That's why they hired somebody. Yes, and you know who their name was? Manetho and Herodotus. That's who translated it for. You understand? And that's why the story got twisted. And one more testimony of my own. I've been to Egypt, like I said. I saw the cartouches. They got the cartouches of the 12 tribes in Egypt. They named Joseph in Egypt. They name him in their records. But you know what they don't name? They don't name the Hebrew Israelites by name. The only place you can get that record at is on the Rosetta Stone. And you know why? You know why? Because your Egyptian scholars are liars. That's why. You believe in a lie of a wicked empire that God destroyed. And he got rid of that empire. Why? Because it was another empire like America that believes only in enslaving people. And you ain't never going to resurrect that Kemet garbage. You're not even there. And you going to try to resurrect some old African country. Why you think God got... You go to Egypt right now, Chinese tourists is pissing on Kefren's coffin right now. Chinese people is up in there pissing in the pyramids right now. And you know why? And you know why? Because God destroyed that filthy, stinking rat hole. Give me some more, y'all. Give me some more on this empire of Egypt.
Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. I see that they run down left mommy. Fi struggle the hard road with 5 beginning. Our I see baby having baby. Nothing that happen no.